good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon to the other parts of the world. Welcome to the AMA. I'm Mirko, CEO of UNIX Gaming, as our community knows, but for the EnginesOfFury community, I introduce myself. We have Saurius here. Maybe you want to introduce yourself quick, and then we can kick off this awesome AMA, what I'm waiting already a long time for.
Sure. Hello, everyone. So I'm Solus, but you can call me Sol in short. So I'm the founder and CEO at EnginesOfFury, and really happy to be here, guys. And I think that we're going to have a great AMA. So let's get it going.
Yeah. Just on that note, we have also we have a few giveaways for questions for the community at the end of the AMA. So please type in your questions. We will collect them, and we will go through them at the end of the AMA. And I think myself and our community, some of us, we know your project very, very well because we really love what you're building. But it would be nice to get a little intro from yourself, from the founder, speaking with the passion, what you put into the project. So yeah, we would like to get a quick intro or project. What is EnginesOfFury? What does it mean for our community, for the players out there, for the play and earn, what I like to say. So yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I always like to begin in short what it is and then sort of expand as we go. So in short, what we're building, it's a wager-based 3D PvP and PvE arena battler. What it means is that as in your normal fight, you would be fighting. The wager-based means that for every fight, you have to stake something, be it tokens, be it NFTs, but every fight you stake something and then you fight against the other player. And then if you win, you can get the other player's tokens or NFTs. So basically every fight is a new thrill. Every fight gives you this adrenaline boost. And this is one of the main differences that we have. And I think that's why we really wanted to create it. We started quite early. We started back last summer, and we started as any other good story starts. So we started at the bar with a couple of my friends that are now my co-founders and my peers. Because we were in the industry for quite a while. So I was in sort of marketing and blockchain. Some other friends were in game dev studios and that kind of stuff. And we were seeing, this new hype, new type of thing happening with play to earn and with the crypto games. And we were not really liking it because what we felt is that there were still lacking those true games that are true to the actual core principles of gaming, which is really addictive and interesting gameplay loops, which is really stunning visuals, stunning graphics. So what we wanted to do is to build a game that would stay true to the core gaming principles and then somehow add the play to earn aspect or play and earn, which I really, really agree with, and the NFTs and everything somehow organically into the gameplay loop. So this is how we started, and this is where we are now.
Yeah, very interesting, especially the let's say the point that you battle for something, because I remember from my past as a pro gamer, when you play tournaments and you have the prize pool and you're in the top in the last 3 matches, it's it's all or nothing, so you're out. It's like the KO round, and then either you go out of this tournament with nothing, where, for example, Counter-Strike, or you get in my early stages, it was just a keyboard or a mouse pad, or then later on there was more cash prizes. But yeah, there's adrenaline and there is excitement, and I think this is especially what you see at the moment in the play to earn market is it's more grinding, it's there's not really the true fun there, because yes, I believe that, it's, for example, if you lose something, yes, that can happen, but we're not talking about thousands of dollars, right? I mean, I think it's a reasonable amount. Maybe we can go into that later. So what's the inspiration of Engines of Fury? I mean, this is something because like everybody have kind of a game from the past, what you liked, you know, what you really admire, or what you spent hours and hours on it. What is the inspiration for Engines of Fury, like where you got the idea from?
I think that, you know, that wouldn't be one game, because we have a very big team to begin with, in terms of the founders and in terms of the overall team now. So there were quite a few games that actually really inspired and made you know, impact on what we are building now. So for my personal part, I basically wasted and spent tons and tons of hours of my life on World of Warcraft, on Diablo, and especially in World of Warcraft on the PvP stuff. So also the PvP arenas, and so for me, it was mostly from that part. For my other co-founders, that was from RuneScape actually, and they still play RuneScape Classic. And also I think, you know, this game in a way, like this gameplay mode, like the PvP dual gameplay mode, was really inspired by the RuneScape's dual arena mode, which was like super successful. But at the end, it was actually banned because like half of the community loved it, half of the community hated it, because it had this losing aspect that you can win but you can lose, and it gets you really addicted. But it gets you addicted in a good way, that there's a thrill every time.
Yeah.
That you just like, oh, I want to play again. I just lost. But I think like that's the emotion, that's the passion that we have to bring back to the crypto games now. So, you know, I think it's super important. And as you also mentioned, like Counter-Strike and that kind of stuff, I think that, you know, what's really missing is finding the right balance between having sort of a esports feel like of this competitiveness, of really having to understand the game mechanics, to really having to play it enough to learn the skill, but at the same time having you know, possibilities for players and for the majority of players to be rewarded while they play. You know, while all this, you know, was moving from esports, is because in esports there was this problem that only the very top could earn something, you know. So I think if we can somehow find this balance, and I think that with some really big announcements and reveals that we're going to make over the next, you know, weeks and months about the actual gameplay, I think that we're really onto something that will seamlessly tie these two worlds and ensure that we keep the competitiveness, the real fun aspect, but also create like really solid in-game economies that are sustainable and that can reward a lot of players just by enjoying the game and having fun, and also having the opportunity to earn something from it.
No, I think that's a very cool angle or point of view how you approach the whole space, because again, what we mentioned, play and earn is very broad. You see a lot of grinding games, and I think with this competitive factor, because at the end the community, I think, will remain when there's enough fun, and it's not only about the rewards, you know what I mean? So I think this is the two components you need to combine here in this new era of play and earn. And yeah, I remember, I mean, even without having any returns that time, you know, I played Diablo 2, you know, hardcore, and a level 98 character died. You know, this was my experience. You know how much pain is that, you know? And yeah, who don't experience this yet, but I think when you play Engines of Fury and you go in the match, you get this kind of feeling by battling against your opponents. Yeah.
Well, a good thing with us is that your champion like will not die and just disappear.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
You can just lose the fight.
Yeah. You're right. Sorry.
Because that will, but yeah.
No. Okay, just to clarify that, your champion will be still there, but let's say maybe the token you will lose. But no. Talking about gameplay, because we talk already so a little bit more in detail about the gameplay. So first of all, when players want to join, what smart chain is that on? Because access or easy access and having let's say a wider range of players would be interesting if there's a smooth or a fast blockchain. So what chain you're on?
Yeah, so well, the first thing that I'll say will not make you guys happy. I mean, the main token is going to be on Ethereum, but it's going to be bridged to BSC. So that's exactly why we want to make this efficient and cost efficient and speed efficient. We're also considering a couple of other chains, namely Polygon. So that's for the chain part, and also we were really evaluating and researching and doing our due diligence of how the actual game should work in order to ensure that the actual fights and the gaming experience is not interrupted by transactions and by waiting times and by gas fees and etc. So in a way it will be like a two-way application where you will have on your website, you will have like your wallet of your tokens, of your NFTs, where you will manage your champion and that kind of stuff. But then and this is the place where you will deposit your tokens or withdraw them, or deposit your NFTs, your armor, your weapons, your helmets, and all the kind of things, and you will be able to withdraw them. But the actual game application will be a desktop application, meaning that when you open the game, then you are playing with no waiting times and with no transaction, because that's happening on our backend. And why we really had to do this is because imagine every basically fight is a transaction, because you have to stake tokens and then you can win some or you can lose some, and there's also various rewards after playing a number of times. So there are a lot of basically transactions in our game that are happening all the time. So even if we would have the most efficient chain, the cheapest, the whatnot, it will still build up. So that's why we have this approach that you have your website where you can deposit, and this is where your real tokens are being held at. And then you have an application that is basically using the backend data, and then when you finish playing, then the backend data updates, and then you can withdraw the actual amount that you have after fighting. So maybe it increased, maybe it decreased a little bit. So this is how we will ensure that in terms of transactions, there will be very few real transactions that will enable players to have really good experience with no waiting times and no gas fees.
So let's say, just to clarify that, so the gameplay completely happens in an app basically, and when you go and you want to interact, let's say with NFT, smart contract token, let's say you have the marketplace for this on-chain, where you make the transaction and you pay basically per transaction a gas fee or something like that. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, perfect. So then I think there's very clear then for players who are interested to join EnginesOfFury. We talked already about the different what EnginesOfFury offers compared to the other play and earn games. So is there any other feature you want to highlight here, or you say the competitive mode, that you basically fight for something, that's the key feature of EnginesOfFury?
I think it's that one of the key features. Again, we are not revealing all of our cards now. There are tons of stuff that is upcoming that's going to be super exciting. But I think that is fair that we will not show all cards. But I mean, we've been working a lot with with top game designers, with top in-game economy designers, making sure that what we do actually makes sense, that what we do is sustainable. What's really important now in crypto games, that some of them are just flopping because the economies are collapsing. We could talk ages about the differences between dual token settings and single token settings. So we are still keeping quite a lot of cards up our sleeves that we will be telling you guys about. But what I can tell you now, that yes, we have this competitive aspect that is unique We're going to expand on it. We also are putting tons and tons of effort into the actual visuals, which I think really shows and also kind of differentiates us from a lot of games. And I think that, you know, the team that we have gathered also kind of stands out, because those are people that have been building games for like more than a decade, that have released tons of titles, that have been working for the actual Unity engine for like years, and now they are running our game. And yeah, and from my side, I also, you know, we have connections to really top guilds, top teams, top basically people and connections that will make sure that what we do is really spread widely, and that we have the necessary exposure also in the standard gaming world that would help us to deliver on the promise that every other game is making out there, that they are trying to bring the adoption, that they're trying to bring the standard world players to the blockchain. And I think that's really important. And with our game and with our, you know, angle on it, I think we are really paying our respects to the player. And I think this is how we will make sure that we can actually deliver on it.
Yeah, and I think that's still to attract the traditional players. I think that's one of the major focus should be for every game, you know, because that's and then the onboarding process, you know, like how to get them into the metaverse, get them into a wallet, and they need to understand that with skill, you know. And this is like something, and then I think when they not see, let's say, sorry to say that it's not it's like a Ponzi, you know, this is the major thing what you hear about play and earn games, you know, like Ponzi, you play this, and you know. So I think what you're doing perfectly right is like making people playing versus each other, and there's a reward, you know. See it like simple as it is, basically, you know. And I think this in an economy, and yes, we go to the token economics later, but yeah, I think it's awesome what you're building. But one important question here for the community is it free to play? What is my entry? You know, because like everybody who is already committed to play and earn and think that's the future, and we have a lot of players in the community, they really want to join, and this is actually the key question, I think, for the most people.
Yeah, it's not completely free to play because you have to buy a champion, but what we're doing differently, we are making the champion's price super low and basically probably pegged to the USDT. I think it's normal that you have to have some super small barrier as you would have in any other game out there, but you know, again, how we're different because we want as many players as possible playing our game, and it's not about making champions that will be like very scarce, that will grow in value, which would be maybe good for like short term our games, but our vision is not there. Our vision is to become, you know, one of the top, like, you know, esports likes play and earn games in the crypto industry as a whole. So that's why the entry barrier will be super low. I'm not going to tell in the numbers, but that's going to be like single or at most double digits. So that's like really low compared to some other games out there, you know. But yeah, so that's the entry barrier, and apart from that, it's all on your skill.
And I think the cool part is, you know, through crypto as a vehicle, you know, that people can competitive playing with each other. Basically, like a regular game, they don't have a reward tool inside, right? Because it's just a game. You get maybe in-game items, but they're not NFTs. And I think this is like you have actually already prize pools created, you know, inside your own game, you know. And this is like very rare, actually. You know, there's only like, let's say, monthly or maybe every half year a tournament with a prize pool, and then it's only the elite who can basically maybe win that. So I think the concept you're describing about EnginesOfFury, I think it's awesome. I really can't wait until you let me finally get an early access, you know, and also hopefully some from our community. for the game modes, is there like only the core, the PvP? Can you maybe talk a little bit about the game modes? I believe there is more than just like, you know, 1 versus 1 or, you know, like fighting for one goal. So I think you already have that planned.
Yeah, so at the very beginning for the MVP launch, there's going to be 4 gameplay modes. So the first one will be like a training ground, which will have no cost to entry, nothing that you have to stake, nothing that you have to do. You just basically go into that gameplay mode. You will select like an AI enemy that you want to fight. And this is the gameplay mode that is used for you to basically learn more about the champion that you have, about what kind of abilities, what kind of spells the champion has, and maybe play around with some, you know, items or some NFTs that you have, see what works best, see what combinations work best. And this is how you basically prepare for the other fights. And what are those other fights? So in terms of PvE, we will have boss fights. So this is going to be like a super hard training ground alternative where you have some small entry fee. But basically, if you get to win against that boss and to kill it, then you will have really generous rewards in terms of our tokens, in terms of potential drops of items or some rarer items, which will be NFTs. And the rarest thing that will drop is going to be something that we call titanium tablets, but that's basically a recipe for an NFT that you can then create yourself. So if you win a lot of those fights against bosses, you can eventually collect enough recipes that you can then combine and create, or as we call it in our universe, forge an item that is going to be of really high rarity, of solid adds to the stats, and probably really valuable on the market. So that's for the PvE. Now on the player versus player, so that's going to be like 1 versus 1 duels, right? Which we kind of talked about. So you enter it, you select a stake that you want to place. So we're going to be allowing a couple of, let's say, a couple of tiers for staking. So there's going to be like super low tiers, just for people that want to like have fun. So like, I don't know, like 1 cent or something like that. And there's going to be like maybe a little bit higher, and then the super high tier for players that just want to really live dangerously. And when you choose the stake tier,
my character can die, yeah? Like in Diablo, yeah?
Not die, but you can lose a lot. But yeah, that would be dying, but no. So when you select the tier, you basically then get matched with an enemy that wants to stake the same amount, that is of a similar strength. And then you get to choose your items as well that you're going to use for the fight, and then you are in the fight, and you know, then you're on your own basically. So that's the 1 versus 1. And there's also going to be a tournament mode where more people can like stake for the same, you know, fight. And then it happens like a playoff fashion, that let's say you start with like 16 people that pooled their stakes together, and then only the first 3 places win something, in addition to rewards that we're going to be giving from our side. So if you play in a tournament, which is like obviously harder to win, then there's going to be additional Fury rewards and even some small chances of receiving an NFT item. So those are the main gameplay modes for the beginning.
And the beginning is when?
The beginning for the PvE modes is planned for around mid to end Q3. And the full game with all of the PvP modes, tournaments, and that kind of stuff is planned for around November to maybe early December. One thing that I haven't maybe spoken about is so on the
just to interrupt 1 second, we have a little trailer here showing now. It's basically maybe Remy, you can play it one more time. It's just that people understand, like especially when you see it the first time, how the game looks like in game. And as you see, for me, this is like upgraded 1000% from the current state of play and earn games. You know, like it's a very short trailer because they don't want to spoil too much, but it's definitely from the graphic, it's awesome. And this is just to people who don't know, this is basically the PvP mode. This is the arena, you match, and then you basically start the battle. So yeah, thank you, Remy, for the quick trailer. So
and sorry guys for only showing that little thing that we have here. I actually have a lot more info, and it's sometimes even hard for me not to like just, you know, turn on the share screen and show everything that we have. But I mean, but those things are coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, we can make another AMA, you know, if you have more material, what you will present, we can just repeat that. I think there's so many people waiting for fun in the space. And especially in crypto, you know, people have no patience, you know, so they want everything now. And no, but it's awesome. I have more questions also for you. So about the tokenomics, like how you so you have 5 tokens and 1 NFT, or you know, how many tokens you have, what's the token name, how is it, like what's the utility of that token, because this is something what the players also want to know, like how I get in, which token I need to own the NFT, or I can play just with a token. So maybe you can just give us a little insights on that we educate the people who really heard the first time of Engines of Fury.
Yep. So the token name is Fury. As your Engines of Fury, then you get some Fury in your pocket if you play with us. So the name is Fury. The total amount of tokens that's going to be released is 120 million. For the initial market cap and for the launch pads and everything, if you want to know more. So we have 2 confirmed launch pads now. Basically the biggest one, so that's DAO Maker and GameFi so far.
And maybe UNIX, final round.
And maybe UNIX. We'll keep this
maybe
secret,
talk about this later.
And so initial cap just over like $1 million. The dates for the launch are around end of quarter 1. So you might be expecting some news in the coming weeks. And for the token utility, you know, when I get this question, I kind of want to be a little bit cocky and say like Engines of Fury is an example of token utility, because everything is concerned with token. So, you know, in order to enter a fight, you have to stake our token. In order to enter a PvE match against a boss, you have to use tokens. If you want to forge items from the recipes that you gather, you also have to use tokens. If you want to, I mean, there is one also cool thing that we have, and that basically is solving some of the problems that are out there, is in our game, you will be able to destroy your NFTs. So basically your like weapons or your armor. Why do we have this? Is because quite a lot of, you know, economies are collapsing in some other games, just because they allow minting of NFTs, which we will also allow through forging, but they don't have a, let's say, like a deflationary mechanism that is built in that would reduce the amount of those NFTs. So what then happens is basically the markets get oversupplied of the tokens, of the NFTs, and what it does to the NFTs, they diminish value of all of the NFTs there, right? So there needs to be, you know, as there needs to be like a token burn in the games that have a dual token system, the same has to happen with the NFTs. Because if you just allow minting and minting and minting, I mean, we know what's happening with the economy as a whole, like, all right, so you can't just print and expect no
USA
inflation.
dollar printing. Yeah,
so
for example.
Let's not get there, but that's a good example, right? So in our game, you will be able to destroy your NFT. So basically, if you have like leveled up your champion, you have some items that are not being used, you probably will put them on the marketplace, and maybe somebody will buy them. But if you see that, I don't know, like 3 days goes by, like 5 days goes by, and you don't see that anyone wants to buy that NFT, and you want to buy something else, you can destroy that your NFT and get Fury tokens immediately, according to the algorithm of its value and like and things like that. But that basically lowers the amount of NFTs out there, and what it does, it basically hires the value of all of the rest. So this is why we have it in our game.
And I remember our first call. Anyway, we had a very good connection when we went in, like talking with passion, about the space and where we are now, where we've been 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And the when I actually said, okay, don't tell anymore. What was for me the best part was basically when you said like staking tokens, like to get basically access to, or to fight. And then you told me that there's also APY on it. It's like, so basically you combine basically the whole GameFi. It's GameFi 2.0 in my opinion. Like you're having tokens. Yeah.
I'm so gonna use this for my marketing materials, man. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, but that was for me was I was like, man, you got it. No, really, because like it's like kind of other so instead of like giving virtual energy, you can play 20 times and limit the player experience. No, you load your energy, you load the amount you want to play. It's up to you, the amount you want to use. And by staking, you have an additional utility. So this was for me was the feature what I really enjoyed. And you told me the most people because they compared the traditional games, play to earn games, and they said like, you need to stake tokens. But that exactly for us, for me as a gamer, if I want to be competitive and long term committed to the game, that was for me the key feature actually.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's why in some of those other games you have to have energy that the energy depletes, because otherwise you could just grind nonstop, and games have to have some sort of breaks on that, because then it would also destabilize the underlying economies, right? So it's just not there with us. There are going to be things that maybe would seem like grinding, because if you play a lot of games, then you will eventually earn rewards in terms of, you will earn recipes, you will learn things that you can then do something with it and then put it on the marketplace, and then you can earn from it by selling it. So it has some elements of it, but I think those elements are fun. And those elements are not grinding. Exactly. Those elements are not a job, that you come from 9 to 5 to do the same thing.
And yes, you're planning something, and at the end we get actually more to know what's the economy looks like when you populate your game. Just to refer back to Diablo 2 and what inspired me actually to go into crypto, there was an in-game currency already. It was the Stone of Jordan. It was basically the community decide this is have the value. I'm seeing like or there was been tools were built. Okay, what's the percentage when I do this, or how much energy I need? What's need to be my win rate and stuff like that. So there've been so many people like really taking their free time to create like statistics, okay, how many games I need to win, to basically to be profitable, that I get like always my so in this case the Fury token, that I always have enough tokens to play. I need to just from 10 games I need to win 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, I don't know, something like that. I see just from my side, and I believe a lot of people in the community already they're excited, because then it gives really more utility, and also by forging items, and there is one thing also you can, I think, wait, where is the question? You can melt NFTs,
or you can forge.
Yeah, So this, you only talked about Forge, but melting, that is also a part what I really enjoy, because you already bring the inflationary part, which that's actually the biggest problem in the play to earn, or with a token project, the inflation. And I think with melting and with the staking, I think you cover these two objectives. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I mean, we've put a lot of thought into this, because we're thinking about the long term. We really had to do a lot of homework on the in-game economy, right? Because you can't be sustainable as a game. Like, however fun it is, you can't be sustainable if the underlying economy is flawed. So we've done a lot of calculations. We really hope and we believe that I don't think that we nailed it, but I think that we're on a very good path. And we will be, updating it as we go. And I think that we're really on to something here. And, as you said, that all of these things were actually in the games before. As you said, like the in-game currencies, like in Diablo, or like even like NFT-like things in other games, like this RuneScape's party had, like it had like tremendous value also. But the only thing is like, and also how we can sort of bring those players is by educating them, so this is similar, so you have similarities there, that they wouldn't feel alienated, but then you can explain that, hey guys, like, so when you were training like Stones of Jordan or party hats, in a way that was illegal, because you cannot do that because everything is owned by the studios, right?
Yeah.
But this is purely legal.
Yeah,
and also I think
we escaped from that. There was one that time. I remember, just off topic. There was the grandfather sword was sold on eBay for $1,800. That was like that time, like 20 years ago. Even longer. It was like the headline. And that was actually the first, let's say, digital asset, but with no ownership. And I think anyway, we don't need to talk too much about philosophy and how things change, but I really, that's why I'm so excited about play and earn space, GameFi. I think it's just too early for a lot of people, but we have already a strong community, more and more growing people and populating the space. And I believe personally, this is my personal opinion, that when Engines of Fury get populated, I believe that have one thing covered, and this is like there is a user base and a recurring user base and growing. And at the end, we need a strong community with any other whatever project it is. Don't have to be crypto. Community is very important. We will support definitely Engines of Fury. We hope we can, again, building these tools, giving education, because this is also what we do, getting people onboarding. This is basically what is our goal. To support the awesome projects, and we totally off. I mean, just for the people who are watching, we have a script. What we have to, and not we have to, is just like giving a few answers, but we totally off the questions. But I think the questions are the good ones. What we're talking about is, I think, the essential part here. Just if anyone, and the questions piling up, by the way, let me quick check. We have tokenomics covered. We had the gameplay. And then just I want one point, because I saw the roadmap. Let me share my screen quick with the roadmap of. Can you see that?
I can.
Remy, is it active? 2 minutes. No, then I need to. Okay, Remy. Sorry, you cannot hear Remy. Is our broadcaster. Remy, when you're ready, just pull up the roadmap picture, please, and then. Because what's interesting, what I think, what also Engines of Fury, we can already start talking about it, because not delivering the full game, in one shot. I think this is also something what is very important, So giving a key feature of the game, what you're doing, like with the PvP, for example, and then basically developing on it, you know, because on the roadmap there is MMORPG, you know, and we saw in the trailer just now an arena, you know, we start an arena, we have something to do, you know, and especially in a space what is so fast moving, it's super important that we like, you know, we building, continuously building. And I think even when MMORPG is, I think there's a lot of things more what you will still improve and continue, and you know, maybe a new an expansion. I'm seeing it like World of Warcraft, you know, you started with classic but you have 10 more expansions, and it just comes along with listen to the community, building what is the current state of market, maybe looks at what's the trends, you know, to get these things involved. And
I think you know, it's super important that you actually touched on this. You know, I'm not speaking about this a lot, but yes, for the overall games and for the game makers in this industry and in the standard world also, I think it's super important to have some sort of a long-term vision. It's not about us, you know, making this game this year and then we're like, I don't know what to do. Maybe I listen to some advice or maybe something. No, I think it's really important to have a long-term vision. What you also said, it's super important, I think, to listen to your community, to your players, to your even token holders, because that's also part of the in-game economy, right? So we actually have planned that. We will have governance models that you will be able to vote on certain features that are going to be released later on certain, let's say, regions that are going to be released on talent trees and that kind of things. So I think it's really cool. And what also, you know, blockchain gives is, you know, this real impact that the player base can give to your project. So it's not only listening to the feedback, but it's allowing them to have a certain control over where the overall game is pivoting, because I think that makes absolute sense. They are your players, they are playing their game, and at the end of the day, they are the ones that can really help you make it better, because they themselves know what works and what doesn't, and with the votes and pulling them together, that can really increase the game's quality.
Yeah, and this is basically that's why we created a DAO, you know, that's why we wanted to be a DAO as UNIX and you and many other projects. I think DAOs become more and more important, especially for communities, because when I play Diablo, I have no voice, you know, I just whatever update they do, I need to play it. Even I like the game, and you know, it's like if you went just as an example, the last BlizzCon, when they announced Diablo Immortal, okay, there was no community voice, you know, because they're a company, they're only thinking about profits. They cooperated with Activision. And I don't know if you saw the feedback in the community. People stand up there asking if this is a joke, you know, building a Diablo mobile, you know, Diablo 3 mobile. And why is that? Why that happened is because you give the people no voice, you give the people no tool to participate basically in your game. And that's the cool thing in crypto, and especially with a team like you know, young, you know, passion driven, with the game, and listening to the people like, okay, this could be a cool feature, you know, and you know, once the game is populated and you get like feedback, and then you can like start building and like and deciding, okay, some things are maybe not possible, but there are things what's possible, what in line, of course, with token economics and so on. But you know, that's I think the awesome feature of the play and earn space. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, and it's like it's the overall blockchain, right? So in the standard world, things are more like top down, and the blockchain gives you the centralization and gives like voice and gives power, so it becomes bottom up. And I think at the end of the day, I think bottom up strategies will win, not only in like the most populated games, but at the end of the day in those games as businesses also. Because if you have, you know, the most played game, if you have the most players, if you have an active community that are playing your game, and you can keep them excited, with not only like your own like events, rewards, expansions, but you are listening to their feedback and you're actually building towards what the community likes the most about your game, you can sustain them. And if you sustain them, you sustain your business also. So I think, as a whole, this is like a very logical approach to doing things, because the long term, it should really pay off, basically.
Yeah, I really totally fan already. I mean, I told you that from the first call we had, and our community. I'm pretty sure that we should make another AMA with more, let's say, because AMA is like, like now we talk a lot, and that's good. We have a very good talk, but people want to see some, some action trailers. Yeah. So, but I know that you just tell me when you got material or when you can release it. I understand it's strategic. I always tell that to the community. We need to be patient, for certain things. No, but I think we should do another AMA for sure. I would love to jump into the community question because we have some, and there can be very long, we already not to keep it to 2-3 hours AMA. I believe we have enough time to talk, enough material, but just to get some, because for me the community questions are the most, because I already know your project, you know your project as well, and then to get really people who trying to get like an idea now about what is EnginesOfFury. So I really have a high priority on the community questions. Sure. I would love to start with Dark DJ Shadow. Are there chat voice commands in game to the community with our opponents?
That's a super question. That's not for the MVP. But that's definitely going to be happening with the upcoming updates after the MVP, because I think it's super cool when you can not only play but also interact with the person. Or the best thing about me playing like a Warcraft was when you actually have like a PvP arena or something, and straight after you finish the opponent, like you can slash make love, and you can make love. So it's like pretty nice way of like trash talking. But yeah, I think that's really important, and that's really fun. So we will have it, not for the MVP, but this will be done.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Dark, for the question. Kabulkubuk TV. Can character skills be upgraded, or does it have a skill tree?
It sort of has a skill tree, because you can unlock certain skills as you level up. So the skills themselves are at the moment staying the same, but you're unlocking more and more options as you level up and progress throughout the game.
Okay. Like Diablo? No, just kidding.
Are you sponsored by Diablo?
No, man. It's just like, it was, I think, one of the most playtime. No, that's not true. I think World of Warcraft got more playtime. I don't know how many hours, but only classic Burning Crusade, Lich King, and then there was content. Then it was mainstream, and then
pandas and everything. Yeah.
Okay. Perez Ramos, how can you upgrade your champions?
By playing, you gain experience points, and slowly you increase your level. So this can be done in all of the gameplay modes apart from the training ground. I think it makes sense that in the training ground you don't earn experience. It's just there for you to learn the mechanics. But in all other gameplay modes, you are earning experience points whether you lose or you win. So you're upgrading, in both options.
Then I have a question. The training ground, is it like, because we talked about an entry fee, is the training ground free or?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. No, because
it's completely free. Yeah, it's just so you could learn the mechanics. It's just so you could try the game, and
yeah, perfect. I mean, because this is another, like, especially in crypto, before you make an investment, you want to make sure, you know, it's like you buying the new computer or the new Apple phone or whatever. You check the specs, you know, you want to make sure, okay, this, you know, so no, but it's for the community, especially for the players, it's very important. Some in our community, they get, of course, the information straight from us, but, you know, people who touch random, you know, maybe through your marketing, they got on EnginesOfFury, and they have a tool to test the game and play, you know, like playing around basically with the engines or with the gameplay what you have. I think it's very, very, very good.
Yeah.
Awesome question. I will note that. Remy, please note that question for other AMAs, because this is super, super important question. Then Shenley Luis Montano, in what range amount can we earn playing EnginesOfFury? I know he said in the beginning numbers we cannot, he don't want to mention.
You know, because you can either win or lose, but there is also a possibility that you will win every single fight that you take if you are like really awesome and you nail the game, and everybody that you play against is just like weaker than you in terms of their skill.
Okay,
I think it's like
I simplify the question. So let's say a USD value don't have to be the exact one. Just like, for example, for one fight, yeah, what you put in, that what can he earn? You know, like, so I stake my tokens, what will be deducted from me, and then of course 2 people put their tokens inside, so I can win the whole pot, right? Yeah. So and then just and again with dual Canute, we cannot mention all the numbers because they can be upside down, cryptocurrency market and so on. So don't take this number now as a guarantee, all the people who listen now, but like in what range we're looking at, like what pool weight have that? Maybe you can answer that, maybe not. That's totally fine.
So what I can answer is the pools that we're planning, at least on the lower side, and then what's the actual, you know, fees related to it. So when you play in a PvP mode, let's say we decide on a pool that is pegged to 10 USD dollars. So basically we would pay the amount that would be the same as 10 USDT at that current market price. So we would pull that into $20, and whoever wins, let me count quickly, it's basically 98% of that sum, because 2% will go to the rewards pool. And from there are going to be 2 things actually, because we haven't touched one important thing about the gameplay. So the fees that are collected from those like winner fees, that is going to be around 2% for every fight, they go into the rewards pool that are going to be used for like various events, leaderboards and that kind of thing. But the other part is going to go to the players that will have bought what we call arena shares. What does that mean? Is that we will be selling shares of arenas that players could own as you own lands in like other games. So you could earn shares of arenas, and if you own those shares, then you will be getting a commission out of those winner fees from players playing in that arena. And also there are going to be some other things that are useful for owning an arena, so like additional rights and like governance models and that kind of things, like voting on how to brand the arenas. Like we have a really cool actually plans on how you can brand the arena.
Talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it. So there are going to be cool things happening with it also. Yeah. So it's I think cool...
maybe in the next AMA we have more input from that. I don't hear next question. The name is erased. I'm really sorry, but the question is, I realized that I can get Fury tokens by melting NFTs and EnginesOfFury. How do we do this? What features should the NFTs can melt have?
I think the question is about, so, what do you get from what you melt?
Yeah.
Yes. So there's going to be sort of an algorithm that checks the value of the NFT item. And it basically, when you destroy that item, you immediately get deposited with a certain amount of Fury tokens. Now, of course, that will be probably lower by a certain factor that what you could get on the marketplace, as it should be. Like, if you want to get something immediately, you are probably either paying more or you are getting less. So I cannot say the exact algorithm because it's going to be different for all the items. But yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So let's simplify the question. So let's say you have a 100% quality item you can find or you can forge, and let's say the quality is 50%. So you get basically kind of, percentage on the rarity or quality of the item, something like that, based on marketplace and competition. And okay.
Yeah.
No, good question. Now the name is back. Shanley Lewis Montano, the second question. Now we have Prodigy Jackson. If player will be losing NFTs for every lost battles PvP, what does it mean for the players who are continuously losing? This would be discourage them from playing PvP in the long run. Are there any systems in place assisting these players?
So the question is, let's say you are playing in the PvP only and you just can't get the win. So with every fight, you get one less dollar, and etc. I think, first of all, well, it's quite unlikely that you would lose that much, but we definitely have thought about this because it would certainly feel discouraging if you would only lose. But that's why I said that there are other things that will be a bit similar to maybe the play to earn games, where in our game, if you really put the effort, if you're playing a lot, there are going to be certain rewards for the top games played for certain things that at least will probably keep you at a close to net zero, even if you are losing quite a lot. But definitely it will not ensure that you are at zero, but there will be mechanisms to support those players in terms of maybe some mystery box appearing for you to open and maybe get a little bit of a better item and things like that. So we will keep this very competitive, but we are thinking of ways how to slowly and very lightly push the players that really are not doing well.
I think also, every game have his audience, and if a game is very competitive, just for Prodigy Jackson, you need to identify yourself as well, are you a competitive player, or you grinding, you collecting, it's also a little bit, I wouldn't say that EnginesOfFury covered 100% of the game market, same as other games, Startlers, Big Time, every game have a different audience. I believe that the functions EnginesOfFury is building is very unique. Actually not unique, but for the traditional market, but for the play and earn. So they're definitely gonna be having a long lasting community. And yes, the PvP is the first element, but the MMORPG, when you have a lot of PvP elements, you can still that's why we talked about in the beginning, there is we building up, the games are building up. So maybe the type of gameplay what suits that person who maybe not that competitive but he have the PvE, he have the MMORPG. So it's like, you know, it's like going on in hand, you know, it's like, I believe to see the key elements for now, yeah, like on that question, again, it depends on audience, and there is a free training platform, you know, so you can enter, free, train, and if you think this is not me, and in the training course you already maybe I cannot win, you know, because maybe you don't understand the skills, then you're not forced to make an investment before maybe you lose your investment, you know what I mean? So you can train before you invest. So this feature is very good for what they built in here. So yeah, just to make
and at the end of the day, no, you can't really satisfy all tasters. As you said, no, you can't really make a game that has it all, because then it wouldn't make really sense. So I think that yes, we are targeting an audience that doesn't really have alternatives yet, but I think that the game will be populated quite a lot, because this is an alternative to things that are not really there. And yeah.
No, good question. But I think that's why I like the community questions, you know, because you get questions you might as your project not think about, or to explain it, also educate people who listen, you know. So just from that point, good question, Prodigy, thank you for that. Main Tillin Toriano, the game have daily quests, or there's any reward quests?
So yeah, as I said, there will be rewards for playing the game and achieving certain goals within that game. Again, you know, as you would have in like a lot of like esports games, like there are achievements, there are like badges, there are like things like that. So our game will also have that, and there will be some rewards associated with completing certain achievements and the things like that. So yes.
No, thank you. Are there any combo skills like in Tekken, you know, what you can like with it? Oh, I see you smiling, so that's one of your favorite questions, so please.
I like Mortal Kombat more, but yeah, but Tekken is also cool. Yeah, I mean, there will be skills. You will choose how to use them, and maybe you will find certain combinations that works best. So in a way, again, that's why we have the training round. So you wouldn't be like backstabbed with someone that has already found it all, that you could first try it, maybe find something that works best for you, and then use it in the real fights.
Just from my personal side, are they so complicated like in freaking Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat? Because like I think you have to push 20-30 buttons in the same time to activate them.
No, at least for the MVP, those are going to be lighter on the difficulty in like mastering them. Because I also remember like, you know, playing Mortal Kombat, like after a while of playing, I would have to like manually control my like thumb from all the clicking. So no, it's not going to be that complicated, at least for the beginning. But the overall idea is to make it complicated enough that there would be some sort of scaling of your skills. So yeah.
No, thank you for the question. I think it was pretty good. Roma Maldekir, are there different classes in the game?
Yes, so far we have released and announced 3 fighting classes. So those are the brawler, basically all things close combat, guy or a girl. We have a gunslinger, so that makes sense, like a shooter. And we also have an alchemist, who basically is somewhere in between like a scientist and a mage. So potions, also long range combat and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, I like it. I know. For me, it's but it's good question, because we didn't touch base on the classes in our script what we both now follow. So I think it's a very good point from the community. And Jeffrey Lalanis, is there a plan for a scholarship program in UNIX with EnginesOfFury? I mean, like, are you offering having something in that as you build? You know, it's okay. We do both.
I mean, we talked about this before, yes. So there will be definitely sort of perks for our guild partners. So I think like this can be touched upon again on the next day that we will definitely have.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey, for that question. Well, this is a longer question. Atenzi Xing, just to understand this correctly, players can get equipped in PvE, and at the same time, that's where they will level up to. For equipments, they can either choose to sell it or keep it. Either way, that carries over to carry over the items into PvP. Are the rarest equipment something like what you need to have in PvP, or will there be a level in PvE and a level in PvP?
No, so the game carries on in terms of the champions and in terms of the NFT or like items that you have. So those are the same for the PvP and for the PvE. Now there are going to be a different number of rarities for the item, going from like the common items to like, you know, rare, epic, legendary, and then the rarest are of course the furious items. And yet, there will be perks to having the most rarest items, but those are going to be in both ways. They are going to be cosmetic and some additional stats, but those will not be, let's say, they will definitely make up a small amount of the actual winning chance that you will have. We are adding more and more, mechanics that will allow us to really get as close as possible to pure esports type of thing that you start, and the skills are what actually the main deciding factor. So in this case, there will be some additional stats from the items, a little bit more from like the top legendary ones, a little bit less from the common ones, but you will definitely have to learn how to play the game in order to win.
The next question from Varun Tubok, I can answer. He asking if there's an MMORPG later in the game. Yes, there is. So yeah, you have a lot of fun later on. It's just like building up, and then I think the guys are awesome. So I'm excited what the world looks like. I have a rough idea, but yeah, we can talk this in the next AMA maybe.
Yeah, I mean, one short thing that I can comment on this point is that we wanted to have something for the community that they could play and really enjoy while we build the MMORPG, because I think that people here, most of them knows how much time, effort, and resources a good MMO needs. So we don't want just to say that we're building an MMO, raise tons of money, and then say goodbye to the community for 3 or 4 years and keep them waiting. No, this is why we chose this approach to really fighting and developing this, I think, really cool game that we'll have, and that the community could already fall in love with the lore that we have, with the style that we have with their champions, and slowly transition into the full open world MMORPG type of game. So it's really cool that we're getting these questions, that people are excited, but at the same time it will take time. But that's why we are having this game at the beginning, that you wouldn't have to wait, that you would already have something really fun to play with.
No, I mean, that makes sense, you know, like, I think to include also, I think that's what I heard from that, the plan to include the community to build the MMO, you know, like
Yep.
early contributors in the game, bug fixing, inspiration, and so on. So, no, I think that's a hope that answered your question, Baron Tubok. Are there any clan and guild wars planned for Engines of Fury?
Yes, I think that's one really cool thing about it. Again, because we have this competitive nature of our game, it allows us to create these events that would be really fun for different communities that we have. You know, so we have you guys, UNIX, basically as our cool partners, but then we are partnering with quite a few other guilds, and I think that really shows that we're here for the community, that we're here for the players, and that there will be some really cool events where you guys will be able to kind of show your worth against the other guilds, not in terms of like some like stats of, you know, who is like earning what, which is also important, but also really doing what at the end of the day, you know, gamer guilds are about, is being the best and beating the shit out of the other ones, you know. So
yeah, I think on the guild landscape, that's what we want to achieve. Like, you know, like now building guilds is one thing, but we want to beat the others, you know. And there's like very limited tournaments at the moment, and I will push hard for that Engines of Fury, that, you know, like in Sin City, we have already our own channel in the Discord, and when the game is live, we are there, you know. So this is my goal. I'm a little bit the freak, I would say, you know, because I'm a gamer, you know. I want to be the best, and this is like my freaking addiction, you know. Like World of Warcraft, yeah. If there's a new expansion, I would, no, I cannot start even just to see how it looks like, because it would catch me, you know.
Yeah.
So no, but no, I'm pretty sure for the question so far, we have, I think, everything answered. We have a few more just to keep on that, because we are already over 1 hour and 10 minutes. I have no problem to talk 2-3 hours, but usually like attention span is decreasing by length of videos, or, you know, when especially it's only me and Sarius talking. Even we have a few trailer elements, yeah, but they've been already passing a few minutes ago. We have let's say 2 more questions. The other 3 I can answer privately. It's basically self-explanation. Sure. What are the both of your thoughts on mixed crypto traditional pricing of the game that will allow proper revenue for the company? EA, I don't know what is the short for that, game cost to play has crypto features instead of NFTs. Is this a question we can answer here, or the question was clear enough?
Could you repeat the question, maybe?
It's a difficult one. I think there was an what are the both? I think it's more like a question, like it's more like a discussion question. It's not really for Engines of Fury. Mac Swagin, please let us know the question. I think it's a discussion question. We like want to go more in Engines of Fury details. If you want to get answers on that, we be both happy to reply on you on Telegram. Yeah, so.
Yeah, you know, I heard some bits of it, and I think these are important questions. It's like about the monetization and how, like, you know, games can be sustainable in like crypto world with all the crypto economies. But yeah, I didn't really get the essence of the question, and I think this would really this could go for ages between me and you, mate. So we can leave that for a little bit later, maybe.
I think I get some support here. NFT release But anyway, so they, just not to not answer your question, Max Wagin, tell us in Connect the Mods, tell me, tell Sarius, we will happy to answer, just not for the chat. It's just like off topic. We can be here for the next 3, 4, 5 hours. Yeah. So, and happy to do so. Yeah. In many more sessions, but you know, again, we talk about more than 1 hour and it's nothing wrong with that. If everybody feel entertained, we can do that every day if you want, but yeah, give us a feedback for that. Maybe Sarius have time every day. I can make spare time. So, RJ, sorry, RJ Rico. Next question. Any incentives for reaching the leaderboard? How often does this reset? Do we have a leaderboard that doesn't reset at all?
Very specific answers I cannot give you, but there is a leaderboard. It will have certain resets. Certain other leaderboards will not have resets because I think it's important. And for the players themselves, it's super important if they can track their like growth throughout the whole time that they were playing. But in terms of those sort of rewards, I think that this has been answered. There will be achievements, there will be leaderboards, and the usual stuff that you have, and those who are on top will definitely be rewarded. So yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay. Very good. Thank you, RJ Rico. Shobi Hassan. Would there be cosmetic skins for champions?
This is something that we are really thinking of, and actually, again, not something for today, but there are some really cool stuff that we are actually working on with some
we put
really cool partnerships that are well known, and okay. Those will be really cool skins, I think. Yeah.
And then does the let's say the PvP have it a friend invite mode, so I can basically battle my friend?
Not for the MVP. This is in a way because we are trying to somehow avoid some potential problems, some potential cheating, some potential areas that we know from like other standard world games that there were some problems. So we are working on this feature, but it's not set now, and this will probably not be available for the MVP. But there will be a way to like group with your friends and talk with them, and then in the end have some fights against them or against guilds as we just talked.
No, makes a lot of sense that you're not like. Yeah, there could be a way that people like abusing that, finding techniques to, Okay. That's been all the questions. I think there've been always a lot of bring the most value. I mean, we talk a lot, but the user questions. So please, just to Remy and Franz team who we're working on, I would like to put a description in the YouTube that the very valuable questions are at the end. Maybe we can put like a timeline on there, like there's the community questions so that people can skip through it. Remy, give me a thumb up. Thank you, Remy. Sarius, I think it was an awesome AMA. The last thing we do now and is the giveaway. Remy, I think is ready. Yeah, click to spin. I need to click or who click, Remy? You click. Okay, very good. I click on it, nothing happened. So Remy, your turn.
And who is the winner?
Yeah, the MMORPG question. Yes, you're made. Yeah. Thank you for participating. Remy, we have another wheel or that's it? How many we have?
There's more.
10. Okay.
Who's next?
General Owl.
Congratulations, General. What was the question?
Yeah, I tried to look at it, but we have already next. Dark, at the first question, Dark DJ Show. Yeah, okay. The question was about the chatting, the emojis after fight.
Good question.
I like it also, and then you have what is it? Prodigy Jackson. Yes, Prodigy Jackson. About the losing of NFTs, in the fight. So yeah, pretty good question. Thank you. And now, and really, Salius, the community questions, all the AMAs we do, they're the one, the best to finalize the AMA. Because if I see sometimes AMAs stupidly running a script, freaking just companies, not really the people in the company, and it's boring as well also,
Yeah, it's because the questions then get boring because they're the same in every AMA, and the answers are also boring because they're pre-prepared. So I really enjoyed this actually AMA because there were some really good questions. And also those questions just, fortified what we are all already building because people are asking about it. And that means that it's important to them. So I think it was really useful, not only for the community to learn more about us, but also for us to have more strength in, in what we are doing. So yeah.
Max Swagging also got a allocation, very good. And then again, the winner won the first time. Very good.
But he has won fair and square, The wheel showed itself. So
many there was a daily quest question. So yeah, very valuable. I think something what in other games is the most favorite. But grinding, and Max Swagging again. That's what a lucky wheel today. Unbelievable.
Ramos, congrats.
Yeah. Paris Ramos, that was the question. If you can upgrade your champion. And Kabuk TV about the skill tree, also an awesome question. And then we have the last question, and this is, yes, I knew it. It was, it's a very long question. It was the PvP equipment, and the PvP, if it's important to grind in PvP, PvE to be good in PvP. Anyway, thank you for the questions. Really, guys, community, awesome. Definitely UNIX and EnginesOfFury, we are not done yet. We will definitely work together in the future more and more heavy. I hope we make the next AMA before the launch, maybe to give another input, to show more highlights. I would really love to do that. And yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I hope everyone who's watching also. Sarius, if you want to mention anything, now it's the last chance until the next AMA.
I mean, just thank you, Mirko, for your time. Thank you to your community. I think it's super nice that we went off the script. That's the AMAs that I like the most. So keep doing it and keep being awesome, guys. Thanks for having me here today.
Thank you, Sarius. Community, everybody, players, investors, token holder, fans. Yeah, see you next time. Thank you.
See you guys. Bye.